Today I'm out and about with dealers. It's 2016 already. We're going to look ahead, see some of the trends, see what's going to be happening for 2016. We'll look back at some of the trends and some of the outcomes from 2015, and we'll hear from some of the dealers and get their view for the year ahead. Well, footfall throughout 2015, strong start to the year, first quarter, declined throughout the rest of the year. It's obviously a challenge for the dealers to, what is footfall? Is it the customer sat in the service centre? Is it the customer coming into the showroom? This is going to be a challenge throughout 2016, is monitor this footfall along with the online activity.
So looking at the challenges that we've got for footfall for 2016, certainly we all understand the reduction in footfall, and that the average customer may have visited us 6 times in the past, and now that it's down to less than 2, possibly 1. The trend can't continue to get any lower, otherwise there'll be nobody coming in at all, and that's definitely not the case. What we've fully taken on board is the fact that if it is only 1 visit, we cannot get it wrong. So the training and engagement of our staff is absolutely critical. No longer is it acceptable not to have the very best product knowledge. Because obviously, as we're aware, customers have done their research before they've come in, so they don't want to speak to somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. So that puts some enormous pressure on us in terms of training and making sure that anybody that's on the shop floor is ready, because we just don't have a second chance to make a first impression.
Well, online activity, what's happened in 2015? As we saw, a lot of the consumers in the new digital world hit the internet in 2015, especially in the first quarter of the year. Started to slow out as we saw the rest of the year started to ease towards the back end. 2016, early indications are, with the mild weather that we've had, actually this isn't as strong as it was in 2015, and a lot more people are out in the showrooms.
A big challenge for me in 2016 is going to be trying to squeeze all the marketing that we've got to do into the same budget as I had in 2015. I don't think I'm going to sell a lot more cars, but I've got a lot more marketing, different ideas, video, social media, everything else that we've got to do. We've got to learn it, so it's resource, it's time, it's money, and to squeeze all that in, that's going to be a challenge for 2016. I think in 2016 we know we've got to get better with video, but it's going to be a challenge because we don't really know how to video new and used cars. So we're going to have to persevere and try and change and modify and tweak until we get it better and better and better, and that's going to be a big challenge.
Knowing that there's this growing market, or has been this growing market of activity between 6 and 9, 10 o'clock in the evening, we've certainly ensured that we've got the ability to respond to those inquiries by a member of staff, not a call centre, in that time period. We are looking at it for 2016 in terms of the whether there's any need to do anything more about that. At this stage there isn't, because I think we cope with it well, and it's making sure that we've got an engaged and informed member of staff to deal with that inquiry at those times.
Well, close to everybody's heart, profit margins. Throughout 2015, profit margins continue to get squeezed from the reporting news. Now, the problem is there. It's competitiveness in the retail market, and obviously increased costings, repair costs, logistics costs, expectations from consumer. Now I believe, and we believe, that 2016, a lot of the dealers now will have got a hold of what they're doing, got used to those profit margins, and they'll be putting in measures to make sure that they retain some of that profit that they've been losing throughout this year.
I think for the man industry, they're not that interested in margins. I think the information they have and the data they have from various sources means that the model for pricing is roughly the same and more consistent. There's less fluctuation within the market for margins, and in providing the customer is happy with the service they've received and the way they've been treated, they will buy a car. Dealers have got the head round the finance aspect of it with the FCA, etc., and are working to a set margin to a degree, and there's a lot more consistency in the market, which from my point of view I think is good for the customer. That means that each customer is treated fairly, naturally, by the fact that the margins are more consistent and the retail prices are more consistent. But overall I think the margins will stay similar, possibly more, because I think manufacturers and dealers are better trained and are getting better margins out of the overall product.
So let's have a look at retail and consumer demand in 2015. As you can see by the graph, there's a strong demand in the first quarter of the year, start to tail off midpoint, but as we see the second half of the year starting to weaken, as you can see. The question is going to be is whether this retail and consumer demand can continue throughout 2016 in the same vein it did in 2015.
One issue we will have in 2016, I think, is the increasing number of small used cars, late used cars, Swifts, Fiestas, Corsas, that type of thing, which is now starting to cause a problem. They're not selling as fast as they were, there's an oversupply, and there's going to be more coming in at the top, more new cars, pre-registered, whatever, so selling those reasonably late small cars is going to be an issue. One of the problems I think for 2016 is going to be the change of customers' perception about diesel cars. With all the crisis that we've had in the last 12 months about diesel cars and emissions and particulate matters and NOxes, customers are now starting to realise that, and I think that petrol cars are going to become more popular over the next few years, and we're going to start to see that in 2016.
So 2016 here, the figures for 2015 are out, just over 2.6 million registrations, the biggest we've seen in excess of 15 years. So the question is going to be, is what's going to happen for 2016 and the year ahead for these registrations?
Yeah, I think the 2016 market will be probably down on 2015, but will still be up. Year on year. I think the growth will decline rather than the volume, and I think that's partly, in my opinion, because the PCP market is growing and the change cycle on PCP is getting shorter as well. So for example, a 36-month PCP is probably being changed at 22-month, a 24-month at 17, and with the growth in PCH, I cannot see that doing anything but continue to grow. Hopefully the manufacturers will ease off because of supply issues or currency issues, but I do think the total number will grow probably by 2 to 3%.
So we've looked at 2015 trends, we've looked at some of the impacts of what that has and how it looks for 2016. We've heard from some of the dealers and their outlook for 2016, the year ahead. Please join the survey, contact me and have your say for 2016. And thanks for everybody and all the best for the year ahead.